Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Viewers, you're welcome to another edition of the Review Digest. This is where we briefly delve into the monthly editions of the Review of Religions magazine. Today on the program, we will be talking about the March 2025 edition of the Review of Religions magazine, and that came with the topic The Power of Fasting from Physical to Spiritual Strength. So, to help us briefly delve into the magazine today, we have with us in the studio Movi Bashiruddin Mahmoud Ahmad Saab. Movi Saab, you're welcome to the program.
Jazakumullah
Today, we
khairan.
have a very special edition on board to discuss. So, viewers, before we start with our discussion here in the studio, we will go and then take an extract from the book Muhammad, the Perfect Man. Please join us.
Fasting as a worship. Fasting is the tradition of prophets. The Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to make special arrangements for fasting. Before his prophethood, the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to fast on the 10th day of Muharram according to Arab custom. After his being commissioned to prophethood, he continued to keep this fast. He kept this fast in Medina as well till the instructions of fasting in Ramadan were revealed. Besides fasts in Ramadan, he used to fast for most of the month of Sha'ban. In the other months of the year, he would start fasting and continue as if he would never stop. Then he would leave off fasting, and it seemed he would never fast again. He never abandoned fasting on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of the lunar month. He quite often fasted in the first half of every month and usually fasted for 3 days. Generally, it will be the first Monday of the month and the following 2 Thursdays of the month. He used to say that on Mondays and Thursdays, the deeds of a person are presented to God Almighty, and he liked to be in a state of fast at that time.
So, welcome back to the studio, viewers. We start with our discussion here in the studio, and what we would want to start with rays of wisdom for the modern world. And the first question that we have here that was captured in the magazine is what is so special about Ramadan? This was a question asked to beloved Huzur, and what was Huzur's answer to that?
Jazakumullah khairan jaza for the question. Auzubillahi minash shaitan rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. So, with this question, what is so special about Ramadan? Our beloved Huzur, Adallah Ta'ala bin Ashil Aziz, in his answer said that in this blessed month of Ramadan, unless graciousness is more prevalent to the believers than the other months. So also this is the month in which Satan is shackled. And that is the Holy Prophet Islam says that the Satan is put in chains during the month of Ramadan. So Allah Almighty restrains the movement of Satan, which makes it easier for the believers also to turn to Allah the Almighty. Also, this is the opportunity for us to grow spiritually because this month provide Muslims the chance for us to make up for our shortcomings, our sins and errors that we've committed in the past when we engage ourselves in the worship of Allah the Almighty, in the recitation of the Holy Quran, and also other related activities which are also of spiritual purposes. In this month, we all know there is a special atmosphere that we have around us in our communities. Everywhere we see that there is this serene environment that we find ourselves in, and this spiritual environment is created to help us to be able to fulfill that right of Allah the Almighty and also the rights of our fellow human beings that we are supposed to do. Also, it encourages us to advance towards Allah the Almighty. In this blessed month of Ramadan, Allah the Almighty opens up his door of mercy. So in this month, we should try our possible best so that we turn to Allah the Almighty. In this month also, as we are engaged in so many good acts, Allah Almighty's joy is shown within us. And Allah in the hadith, the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said that the joy of Allah the Almighty when a servant turns to him is like that of a mother who finds her lost child. So this is the level of love that Allah Almighty has for us, the joy that Allah Almighty has when we turn to Him. Also, we get the opportunity to fulfill the rights that we owe to Allah the Almighty and the rights that we owe to our fellow human being. And when we do all these things, it brings back the joy of Allah the Almighty. In this month, those Allah Almighty is pleased with, they get unlimited reward from Allah the Almighty. And also, it is the month in which the Holy Quran was revealed. It is the gift of the Holy Quran. Allah Almighty has filled this book with wisdom that we all should try to acquire during this blessed month of Ramadan, so that we'll be able to come closer to Allah the Almighty. And also talks about the significance of fasting, that Allah Almighty has specially mentioned fasting as a means of attaining the righteousness and also to gain the nearness of Allah the Almighty. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. That is the prime reason why we fast, to gain that piety and also to be close to Allah the Almighty. So Ramadan is a special month. It is a month where the fortunate ones will be able to gain the nearness and the pleasure of Allah the Almighty.
MashaAllah. Jazakumullah Maulana Sahab. And I believe since we are in this blessed month of Ramadan, we should understand, the significance and then the importance of this month. And so we should not treat it as any ordinary thing at all. It is that month where we can, maximize, our rewards. We can, take a lot for ourselves and benefit, spiritually and then physically as well. May Allah the Almighty bless you, Mawisa. Well, a question was asked to beloved Huzur under the same race of wisdom again. And the question is it permissible to use medicine while fasting? What's up?
Yeah, with this to our beloved Huzur answered that Allah Almighty has given the exemption for those who are sick and also those who are traveling.
Right.
So if you are ill or you are traveling, then you don't have to fast on those days that you are traveling or on those days that you are sick.
Right.
Rather, you have to skip it and then make it up
Okay.
when you recover or when you are done with your travel. Those days that you missed, you have to fast and make it up. Also, chronic diseases or chronic illness, if the recovery is not possible, you are sick such that you might not be able to recover at all, then you should pay fidya.
Okay.
You should pay something which you would have used to feed yourself for the starting of the fast and the breaking of the fast. You should give that out to people so that they will be able to, those who are the poor and the needy.
Yeah.
So, and also fasting with illness, if the doctors confirm that yes, you are sick somehow, but you will be able to fast, then also says that you can fast while you are in that condition. There is no harm in that. Also, about using these medicines, Huzur says that it is allowed to use a medicine before you start the fast, that is before eating at dawn, and also after breaking the fast in the evening. Okay. So before you eat and after you break your fast, you can use the medicine. But when you are fasting during those times, you are not allowed to take in any medicine at all. So no medicine or nothing should be entering the body when you are fasting. That is what Juzur is telling us. And also the usage of these creams, applying balms on the body or using gels or spray, those ones are permissible to be used during the month of Ramadan or when we are fasting. Also injections and operations. So Huzur says that the medications released internally must be taken before or after the fast. Okay. That is, as I mentioned earlier on, pre-dawn and also after you have taken something to break the fast. Yeah. All those medications can be taken. So injections during the body, when you are fasting at that time, it is not allowed. Yeah. Anything that you would want to use should be before and after the time of fasting, not within the time of fasting.
Right. And then once it is said that you are sick, then you should abstain from fasting and then try to make up for the ones that you missed after the month of Ramadan. Jazakumullah Movisab. But Movisab, let's move on to an article, that was written. So in this article, the person, talked about the topic, a guide to navigate through the 3 stages of Ramadan. Can you briefly tell us what this person wrote, what he brought to the knowledge of its readers?
Jazakumullah. So this is an article which was written by Tariq Mahmoud, who is from Canada. And he writes that Ramadan is a time where we reform ourselves. It's a time for rejuvenation, both internally as well as externally. So it is something which requires careful planning. so that you'll be able to attain the purpose of fasting at the end of the Ramadan. So Allah the Almighty has divided the month of Ramadan into three different stages or three different periods, and each period has 10 days. So the first 10 days, the first Ashara, is the time of the mercy of Allah the Almighty. Allah's mercy is encompassing. Allah's mercy is such that it is unconditional. So in this month of Ramadan, we, the Muslims or the believers, have been told that, or we are encouraged to seek more of God's mercy. And also, as you are seeking from Allah the Almighty, you also show mercy to your fellow human beings. So this first 10 days is the time which is teaching us to be full of mercy to our fellow human beings, and also to seek that from Allah the Almighty. The second Ashara, the second 10 days, are the days of forgiveness. So during these times, we are told that we should seek forgiveness from Allah the Almighty.
Right.
We should be seeking forgiveness from Allah Almighty for the sins that we have committed, not only this time, but even in our past years, the errors that have come from our side, the sins. We should seek forgiveness from Allah the Almighty, and also we should encourage forgiving others. All these things, Allah Almighty is telling us that as we are seeking from Allah the Almighty, we ourselves should embody that. We should be able to teach that. We should be able to do that to our fellow human beings. So as we are seeking forgiveness from Allah the Almighty, we should encourage forgiving others as well, so that we'll be able to strengthen the bonds of relations that we have within ourselves. And also the third Ashara, that is the last 10 days of Ramadan, are the days of salvation. So during these days, we are to dedicate ourselves, so we are to dedicate our time, our life to Allah the Almighty, so that we will be saved from the hellfire, and also we'll be able to attain the nearness of Allah the Almighty. Also, Islam teaches us that heaven and hell are things that begin in this very life that we are in. So it is through your actions that will determine whether you are passing, or you are going through the hell, or you are going through the heaven. And it starts in this world, and it all comes back to the relationship that we will have with Allah the Almighty.
Wow, mashallah. Well, we say, may Allah the Almighty bless you for taking us through these very wonderful stages of Ramadan. So it is up to all of us to make sure that we pay heed to these analysis and try to act upon the words of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by seeking forgiveness, by seeking for Allah's mercy, and also seeking His salvation to be saved from the hellfire. Jazakumullah. Well, we continue with discourse or discussion on the month of Ramadan under the same race of wisdom. Under race of wisdom, someone has beloved Huzur that what should you do if you miss a fast during Ramadan? Some of the questions that we receive, regarding Ramadan. So what we say, Huzur's answer.
Yeah, with this also, Huzur rightly mentioned that it is an obligation on us that whatever fast that we miss, we are to make it up. We are to fast those days that we missed. And if someone misses a fast due to illness, the person has to pay it back. Or you miss the fast because of your travel, your journey. Later, even after the month of Ramadan, you have to pay that fast that you missed. You have to pay it back by fasting those days that you missed. And also there is fidya. If your case is said that you are sick, that you will not be able to recover, then you, such a person, you have to pay fidya. That is something that we give out to feed the poor and the needy. So if you are not able to fast at all during the month of Ramadan, then for you should pay fidya, so that we'll be able to use that to feed a poor person who is financially not capable of fasting during the month of Ramadan. Also, Allah Almighty tells us that when it comes to the religious obligations on us, we can't evade. There is no evasion at all. So the fidya is there for those who cannot fast and they have a genuine reason to tell that yes, they can't be able to fast at all. They are those people who are supposed to give fidya. Not that for some petty reasons you just sit and don't want to fast and you give fidya. That wouldn't merit any purpose. It wouldn't give you that blessings that we all are seeking for during this blessed month of Ramadan. So it is for those who are truly not able to fast. They are those people who are to give out the fidya. So it's not encouraged at all that for no reason you give out fidya and you yourself you keep away from fasting. And also the pregnant and nursing women. This is something that Huzur is telling us again and again, that you are also to follow the same rule in making up the fast later on. You shouldn't be fasting when you are pregnant and when you are nursing or you are breastfeeding a child. These moments you need your full health, you need your full, let's say, routine. So you are exempted from the fast. Later on, after the month of Ramadan, you also keep the fast and also pay the fidya in this month of Ramadan, because you are not able to complete the fast. And also, those who have missed the fast for, let's say, multiple years, if you are unable to fast at all for a period of years, then you, such a person, you should gradually make up the fast that you are not able to fast in the missed month of Ramadan. Some scholars also do believe that the past year's fast, you cannot do anything about it at all. You can't fast. You can't make it up. So yes, that is the statement of Hazrat Muslim Maud radiallahu anhu, that if out of ignorance, out of negligence, or maybe temporal sickness, then permanent sickness, then you, such a person, you should pay the fidya, and you cannot make up for those fasts. But as I mentioned earlier on, and Huzur is telling us, if it is deliberate, then you, such a person, you can't make up that fast. You have to seek forgiveness from Allah the Almighty. Nothing can be done for such a person. So Islam doesn't burden a person beyond your capacity. So Allah Almighty knows your strength. So you yourself, you have to know your strength and also do accordingly. And that is the teachings of Islam. That is why if you intentionally forgo the fast, you have to seek forgiveness. You shouldn't be making up for it.
Right. Jazakumullah, Mawli Sahab. That is very, very interesting, very, very unique, very, very informative as well. Mawli Sahab, I mean, we are in the blessed month of Ramadan. Obviously, this should be our, topic for discussion. Under the same ways of wisdom, someone asked beloved Huzur, because usually when it gets to the month of Ramadan, you see a lot of people reciting the Holy Quran and all of that. So someone asked beloved Huzur, what is the connection between Ramadan and the Holy Quran?
Sure. So with this as well, our beloved Huzur Ayadullah Ta'ala bin Aziz graciously answered that Ramadan and the Holy Quran is having a great connection, because during this month of Ramadan, the Quran becomes very significant, or the Quran is always significant. But during the month of Ramadan, it is this month in which Allah Almighty revealed the Holy Quran to the Holy Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam for the guidance of humanity. As well, the Holy Quran is having a comprehensive guidance for all mankind. So the Quran gives directions to your daily life, to your daily activities, as to how to keep away from Satan's influence, and also how it addresses atheism. It also teaches how to protect oneself from shirk and so many other forms of or so many other activities. So the Quran serves as a guidance to mankind. So during this month of Ramadan, we should be reading it again and again to get the guidance from Allah the Almighty. Also, it teaches us the straight path to Allah the Almighty. The Holy Quran tells us the ways that we will be able to strengthen our connection with Allah the Almighty, our relationship that we have with Allah the Almighty, and also how to remain steadfast in faith. So this is a teaching the Holy Quran gives us. The Holy Quran also teaches us true success. Those who truly follow the Holy Quran and its teachings are not only successful when it comes to the spiritual realm, rather in this world as well, these people are also successful. Also, the Holy Quran is not only about fasting, is more than fasting. The Holy Quran in this month during the Ramadan, it's not just about keeping hungry and thirsty. It is also understanding the true purpose of fasting. It's also about understanding the Holy Quran and using it to guide our life. That is the purpose for which Allah the Almighty created us, to remain in constant connection with Allah the Almighty. And Ahmadis, we are fortunate enough to have the promised Messiah alayhi salam, his teachings. So it provides us deeper understandings, deeper insights to the Holy Quran. So reading the books of the promised Messiah alayhi salam is also a key when it comes to the month of Ramadan. So we should try our possible best to understand them and implement it in our lives.
Right. We should try our possible best to implement it in our lives. Right. Movies up. I mean, talking about Ramadan, what we go through during the month of Ramadan. So what this year, that was sorry, last year, what the review of religions did was that they did an experiment with three non-Muslims. They asked them to try, fasting, and then they give their feedback, their experience of what Ramadan is. So we have that video to show our viewers, so that you can also understand how these people, went through the months or selected days in the month of Ramadan, how they felt, their experience, and I mean the whole thing about Ramadan. So please join us, and then let's go and take a look at this interesting video.
My name is Joyce. For the next 3 days, I will be fasting for the month of Ramadan.
They explained to us like the rules about fasting.
We are sacrificing a lot of things like our sleep and our food,
Like not even water.
even our temper.
If there's a situation, you have to just be like, I'm fasting.
Man, didn't realize how early this would feel.
I woke up quite easily this morning.
I'm tired. I'm really sleepy, honestly. This is the breakfast.
Student teacher here in Belfast. So, when lunchtime rolled around, it was different to be in the lunchroom and not trying to get something. So I caught myself a couple different times. I was like, I'm going to go make some tea.
I wish we had smell-o-vision because I wish you guys could understand how good this smells. It is iftar, yay!
Day one. That was a little more difficult than I gave it credit for. I did not think about how hard that would be at lunchtime when I'm at the school, hanging out with the teachers and the other students, and I have to just sit there without those things. Never really put myself in those shoes before. Getting up this early 2 days in a row was a little more difficult than I thought.
I have I think a little less than 10 minutes to eat because I was really sleepy. In life, we find ourselves sometimes being played by our own sleepy selves.
Definitely going to be making a bit of a bigger breakfast than I had yesterday. I've been adding 2 beef, sausage links, and some mushrooms and a banana. See if that helps at all.
It's a bit of a challenge for me to wake up so early, but I think the peace and tranquility that I find in these moments make it totally worth it. I am now currently at the gym. I'm very thirsty, but we'll see how I feel afterwards.
In high school, this friend had known a Muslim student who played basketball during Ramadan with no water breaks.
I made the mistake of this morning. I went out and played basketball with the kids at the start of the day, and I have felt that all day long. And it has surprised me when I've told my friends and family about this, the number of times I've been asked, even water.
If I keep doing my workouts, I think tomorrow and from then on, I should definitely drink more water in the morning.
Alrighty. Pretty solid. Yeah. Sorry.
When you don't have food just whenever you want it, you tend to enjoy it more when you do have it. And it's not because anything about the food itself changed.
I think what this experience is trying to show us is that Ramadan is not just about abstaining from food.
Part of the spirit of Ramadan is remembering how many blessings there are in life.
And opening our eyes to realizing what we may be taking for granted.
Good morning. I know I don't like it right now, but I've actually started to enjoy waking up at this time.
I do find more peace at this time of day compared to other times.
It's just so incredibly peaceful and everything's quiet.
It's almost like the world is still asleep and I have this quiet moment to myself where I can pray and reflect before the busyness of the day begins.
And so I feel like that's also a part of Ramadan, is realizing sometimes that we give too much of our time and energy to things that don't serve us.
I've also noticed that I've been more mindful of my actions and the way I interact with the people around me.
I definitely would recommend this to other people, walking in a mile in everybody else's shoes type of thing. Really changes your perspective.
Oh, that was an interesting video there. What was up? I mean, it was unique, isn't it?
Yeah, looking at how those who are not even Muslims or Ahmadi members are engaging themselves in this fast is something that is quite intriguing. It's a happy thing to see from a Muslim point of view.
Right. What was up? And interestingly, these people gave their feedback on the video as well, but we also got the chance to interview them, after their experience. And what they said was that one of them mentioned that he actually plans, to fast this month again this year, because they did this experience last year, but he was so interested in it that he wants to do it this year. And he found, the Islamic way of fasting very, very unique. And then the question that they usually get was that, okay, you fasted and not even water, you did not even get water to drink. So people were really, really intrigued with how, Muslims fast. So someone also, Joyce, one of the ladies also mentioned that to go, without food and water the whole day was something that was very, very new to her. And that actually made her realize how valuable food is, how valuable water is. And he has heard of starvation. She has
Yeah.
heard of starvation and all of that. But fasting brought that reality, in front of her. And so this has increased her empathy for mankind as well. So he said, we take a lot of things for granted, but through this experience, she has realized that there's no need to take things for granted. We have to be very, very grateful to what we have been given, by Allah the Almighty. So that was a wonderful experience that they had. What we up? So let's continue with our discussion here in the studio. Let's talk about, the gems of the promised Messiah and Imam Mahdi. The promised alayhi salatu wasalam, a quotation was brought up in this magazine that talked about striving is a prerequisite for attaining perfection. What was briefly discussed in this quotation?
Jazakumullah. So in this passage, it emphasizes that true excellence and spiritual attainment, it requires effort.
Yeah.
It requires one to be very, very hardworking, and also you need to strive. Because without these things, you will not be able to achieve the spiritual excellences that you would want to achieve. And there are some people who wanted to achieve this, to strive harder to achieve it. But some of these Sufi masters, the so-called spiritual people, they tend to say that this notion is something that we can't work with, because you would have to be close to Allah the Almighty, or you would have to close enough so as to be able to receive these divine blessings. Right. In the Holy Quran, Allah Almighty affirms that laysa lil insan illa ma sa'a, that no person can attain perfection without effort. So just as in our worldly lives, we put in so much effort in order to get to wherever we want to get to, same way in the spiritual growth, we need to put in much effort, because without actions, no one can expect any divine blessing from Allah the Almighty. Also, Allah Almighty has promised in the Holy Quran that وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا, and those who strive in our way, we shall surely guide them to our path. And this is to reinforce that effort is essential for success in both our spiritual world as well as worldly matters.
MashaAllah. Success is very, very important in both our spiritual world and in our physical world as well. Maurice, we are really, really grateful to you for bringing to light, some of these interesting topics, questions that are, discussed in the Review of Religions edition, the March 2025 edition. We are really, really grateful to you for your time. Viewers, this is where time would allow us to bring today's edition of the magazine to an end. But unfortunately, as usual, we are not able to capture everything that is mentioned in the magazine. We have other interesting things that came in. So we would entreat you to subscribe to the Review of Religions, get your copies, and then read it for yourselves. We are also on Spotify. The Review of Religions Ghana is also on Spotify, where this month we have featured an article, an audio article on the topic, Everything You Need to Know About Ramadan. So follow us and then enjoy, these audio articles. Till we meet again, may the peace and blessings of Allah be on you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.